Hello, everybody. Hello, my lovelies. Up, my people. Hope you all are doing great, my darlings. Hope you're doing wonderfully, wonderfully. Well. So once again, I want to welcome you all to Unapologetically a Woman. So if today is your first time of joining me, kindly note this is a woman's space, a woman's platform for changing all that is no longer acceptable. Okay? This is a place where we are free to be unapologetic to be a woman. Okay? So folks, I have titled today I will be talking about African traditional belief. Africa traditional belief and reaching out to our traditional rulers to intervene and make changes to cultures and traditions that are no longer a part of human progress. Okay? Because if we must evolve and advance in all areas of our lives as a people and then achieve gender equity or equality, tradition is one of the hindrances we must prioritize to be able to move forward as a people and as women. Okay? So folks, I have titled today's topic, Barbarism or Tradition. So without wasting much of your precious time, let's get started. You see, Nigeria is a nation of very rich cultural heritage and endowed with unmeasurable resources and blessings. If only we have good people in leadership positions to spread the patrimonial wealth and then trickle it to the masses and provide basic resources to its citizens. But nonetheless, even with bad leadership, Nigeria's rich cultural heritage is second to none. But then, as we continue to fight against bad governance in Nigeria and our human rights and inalienable rights to basic amenities, equality or equity in political, social, and economic sectors, let's not forget too that cultural and traditional beliefs are both intrinsic parts of our existence and are both intertwined to every other component of our society. Therefore, it is time for us to critically examine our traditional rights and how tradition affects our ability to evolve. Especially as women, traditions and patriarchal cultural beliefs and practices are used to hold us back and subjugate us at will. As a matter of fact, culture and traditions are used to define our existence as Africans or Nigerian women. So both components are paramount to our freedom if we must be free to live to our potentials and have a voice as women in African society. Therefore, my lovelies, as we clamor for political, economic, and social acceptance and change from our political appointees and rulers or leaders, it is time to also reach out to our traditional rulers, who are the custodians of such traditional belief system that hold us back from development and hold women progress and positive advancement. Excuse me. Okay. As you all know, our traditional rulers are highly respected and held in very high esteem by their various subjects. Their words and orders are highly respected. Excuse me, I need to check. Their words and orders are highly respected without questioning. They can call shots on cultural reforms if they want to, with the power that they have and the trust and respect that people have for them. And to think that majority of the traditional rulers we have across Nigeria now in this present day are educated. Some of the rulers, the traditional rulers, are even Western educated and professionally trained. So some of them have lived in this part of the world, and some of them do travel to this part of the world. Even their dressings and lifestyles shows progressiveness and tend to display modernity, even if they are the mouthpiece of the gods and custodian of tradition and culture. From their choices of houses, the cars they drive, their choices of vacation, resorts, and even coming out so stylishly with lots of swag. Our traditional rulers of this day, they have swag. They are stylish. And all this shows they are progressive and they are no longer living in the era of their forefathers. So, which means it is also time for us as citizens to demand that our traditional rulers make changes to barbaric traditional cultures that causes harm to people, that treats women inconsequentially, in existence, and as slaves. So I am calling out today to the Nigerian Traditional Rulers Forum and the top traditional rulers in this forum, the top traditional rulers in this forum who can make changes to kindly look into ways to put an end to old traditions which are no longer serving us as a people. And then it is seen today, traditions that are seen today as barbarism and abuse. We are in 2020. It is time we do some reform by eradicating traditions and culture and traditions and cultural practices that causes hurt, that kill people and put people to hardship or public shame and disgrace, especially when it involves women's rights and opportunities in our society. Progressiveness or progressivity must not be seen in your private, glamorous, and modern lives alone, or in your eloquence when you make speeches, or in your educational backgrounds. Let us remember this generation of traditional rulers as the ones that made us count as women and as human beings in our society. I want to remember this this era of traditional fathers that we have as change makers, as the traditional fathers who changed things and made life more manageable, more better for us as women in African societies and in Nigeria per se. Your Royal Majesties and Highnesses, traditional fathers of our great nation, Nigeria, I am respectfully calling on you all as a daughter today to please kindly intervene in making positive changes to traditions that hold back progress. Please make history by making women count in our societies. Even around the world, big monarchies with long histories of traditions, they are all changing their modus operandi. Things that were no longer accepted in their kingdoms are now being accepted because of the generations of royalties that are springing up, and they are coming up and they are saying no to old traditional cultures that does not let people exercise their freedom, that does not let people exercise their femininity or be themselves. So please, I have come to you all today with a lot of humility, with a lot of respect and honor for you, to please make history by making women count in our societies, and some of the issues needing urgent attention that I bring before you all today as follows. Excuse me. Your Royal Majesties and Royal Highnesses, child facial and body markings of babies and children are still very prevalent and ongoing in our society. These children are stabbed and cut open with knives, all in the name of tribal marks and keeping to generations of brutal traditional practices. Some of these children even bleed to death in the process without them having the choice to decide whether they want these tribal marks or not. Human sacrifices and adopting of children for all kinds of rituals and barbarities is still on the rise in our communities. Children are the most vulnerable, and they are used for anything and everything by evil adults. Female circumcision is still ongoing, even though there have been nationwide and international outcry and clamor to stop and eradicate female genital mutilation. Traditionists are still doing it, and some parents are hiding to still circumcise their daughters. Your Royal Highnesses, this barbaric practice have to stop, as it causes physical, psychological, and emotional pains, sufferings, and trauma to women and girls who went through that process. Female breast ironing and flattening of breasts with rocks and stones is still ongoing in our communities. This barbaric culture and tradition should please be eradicated. Another practice I find very distressing and problematic is the act of putting magun on married women unnecessarily without their consent and without them even aware that they have it in their body, to disgrace them in case of adultery. Some of these women, they get stuck while having sexual intercourse with another man, and even lose their lives during sexual intercourse with another man. Magun is a deadly trap, Your Royal Highnesses. A woman is not a man's property and must have the right to sexual freedom, and her body is hers. She alone must have the right to decide what she wants to do with her body, and then exercises that right freely without any apology. And then in some parts of the country, women are also asked to swear and take all manners of ancestral oath before marriage. Why men are not taking through such processes, and Magu is not put on men, even with all the extra activities they have outside marriage. This practice of shaming women is dehumanizing and please must stop. Your Royal Highnesses, we are in 2020. Why is it that women still cannot be queen to rule their tribes and culture? History has it in records that women have been matriarchs and queens in African ancient kingdoms, and women were warriors who fought and sacrificed their lives for their kingdoms. Women have also been frontliners to making kings and princes, and they are still today. But why can't we be queens in our lands when even the gods recognizes our power as women? They recognize us as Mother Earth. So going through periods of menstruation is our natural rights of womanhood, and that should not be a factor of discrimination to consider us unclean and not fit to rule. There must be a way to rectify that notion of uncleanliness about women when they are in their period. There must be a way to rectify that traditional belief of discrimination, because it is a new dawn, Your Royal Highnesses. A girl child is a human being and therefore must be treated and granted her right as such. Your Royal Highnesses, witch hunting and killings is still a serious issue in our society. Pinpointing someone for witchcraft and then torturing them to death is barbaric. Mental health is real, and some mental health pathology can sometimes be mistaken for witchcraft confession. Excuse me, I'll take it again. Mental health is real, and some mental health pathology can sometimes be mistaken for witchcraft confession, and before you know it, people are slaughtered, stoned to death just for suspicion of witchcraft. Especially little children who are abandoned by parents to wander and die just for suspicions of bad luck and witchcraft. Your Royal Highnesses, marriage by force is still ongoing in our societies. Girls are forced and given into marriages by parents to husbands that they do not know or love. All in the name of tradition. Child marriages is still very prevalent as young girls of between the ages of 9 to 13 are betrothed and married to grandfathers, which is one of the major causes of vagina fistula in young girls. Your Royal Highnesses, collecting very high dowries on girls for marriage is barbaric, as the dowry price of a woman should not be her exchange value in cash. She is getting married and not to be sold into slavery. Families benefit from this act and not the girl in question. This practice perpetuates abuse and women beating and mistreatment. When you allow this to happen, the woman becomes a property to the man. She becomes voiceless, and that gives the man ownership rights over her. And then she only exists on the mercy of the man. Again, your royal highnesses, female inheritance is still not allowed in certain places of our country. Women are not allowed to inherit properties because they are women. Another barbaric practice I want to bring to your attention is the maltreatment of widows in our communities, all in the name of tradition. In some parts of the nation, widows are forced to take oath after spouse death. Widows are forced to drink bathing water from spouse cups to prove her innocence. Locking up a widow in the same room with husband's corpse for weeks to prove her innocence is still ongoing in some of our communities. Ejection of widow from husband's house and property should be eradicated and criminalized. Seizing of children from a widow for no justifiable reason or cause after spouse death or divorce without due legal process is still ongoing in our society, all in the name of tradition. Forcing a widow to marry brother or father-in-laws after spouse passing against her will is still ongoing, your highnesses. Living as a woman in our society is now a death sentence. As we fear to wear underwear, we fear to dispose our used feminine hygiene products after monthly cycle because of alleged ritualists and evil traditionists who uses such materials for evil and to harm women. Something as natural for a woman as her menstruation should not cause her panic or anxiety on how she should dispose of such materials after use. Women are tricked into friendship with evil men to kill and murder them without impunity. Their organs are harvested and their body dismembered and left on the streets in plain daylight. Some cultures still put women in fattening rooms for them to get bigger in size as a sign of womanhood. Getting fat is no longer a sign of good health, and it should not be a symbol of womanhood in 2020. Becoming a man or proving manhood through Sharo festival by flogging a man and the man in question not showing any sign of pain to prove he has come of age must stop. Becoming a man should not be measured by the amount of pains or torture he can bear. Men are also human beings. They have feelings and emotions like everyone else. The notion or traditional belief of making men humans without feeling is no longer acceptable, because this belief is causing lots of negative psychological and mental health challenges on our boys and men. Men should be allowed to also show their emotions as they feel or as they deem it fit. They are human beings and should cry if they need to cry. It is not a crime for a man to be vulnerable. It shows their humanness. Jungle justice is still ongoing and sometimes needs to be done oh my god, I'm sorry. Jungle justice is still ongoing and something needs to be done to end it. Your Royal Highnesses, the list of hurtful traditional practice is huge with long trajectory and generational history. Nonetheless, we are no longer in the 16th century, and therefore we must prepare ourselves to embrace and fit into the world we live in today. And like I already said, other world monarchies are going through reformation in their mode operandi. We can also do something to make life better for our people, especially women, girls, and children. Thank you. Thank you, Your Royal Highnesses, for listening and for taking my plea into consideration. Again, I am a daughter seeking for your support to liberate the Nigerian woman and child from cultural, traditional practices that does not advance our progress, that puts us to shame, that causes us pains, that dehumanizes us and strips us of our dignity and rights and freedom to live unapologetically as a woman that we are, as the Mother Earth and the Queen of the nations that we are. I thank everybody for watching. People, once again, I'm just being unapologetically a woman. Please always remember that this is a woman's space for changing all that is no longer acceptable. And if you are not part of the solution, you are the problem. Thank you all once again for your support, for your likes, for page follow, for YouTube subscription and website visit. Thank you for sharing the videos, and thank you all for your love and kindness. Please visit our website www.neveronmywatch.ca. Register and join the movement. Together we can add forces to make changes for the progress and advancement of women, of girls and children in our society. Thank you all for your love. Thank you for your kindness. I'll see you all again soon, okay? Remain blessed and be good to yourself. Show love, show all the kindness that you can to humanity, okay? Mwah. I love you all, okay? Peace. My people, peace and bye-bye.